Peymon who?
Mata Heyday.
Peymon Lata Heyday. Who is he?
Never paid taxes for 30 years. Fought the U.S. tax court and won.
See, I believe our rights come from God, not from government. Hello, my friends. In this presentation of Freedom Law School, I will cover with you the IRS, how it has lost over 30% of its employees, and they are in big trouble, which means you are going to be having an easier time to free yourself of the yoke of the IRS and keep more of your hard-earned money that you deserve to keep because it's yours by law. I'm Peymon Motahede, the president of Freedom Law School, which I created in 1996. freedomlawschool.org is our website. Let's get to the presentation about how you're going to be free. You're going to be so excited to see this stuff from the mouth of the IRS, Treasury inspectors, and other credible sources for yourself, okay? So here it is on our website, freedomlawschool.org. Under Step 3, how IRS is based upon bluff and deception. I've listed here for you that the IRS has lost nearly a third of its workforce now and has fewer employees than it did in 1974. Wow. 1974. That was how many years ago? Wow, it's right now, June 2026. That's over half a century ago. Yes, the IRS has less employees to deal with a growing America. Every year, about 250 million Americans work or receive some kind of income at the minimum, yet the IRS numbers are going down. See, here we are. As of January 2026, IRS has about 74,000 employees, fewer than any time since 1974. And between January 2025 and January 2026, 31,000 employees, roughly 30% of its entire workforce of 103,000 IRS employees, left the IRS. And everything you see, folks, is based upon documentation. For example, this is the IRS Commissioner's report to Congress in 2022. Is one of the things I rely upon. And whenever you want to see the proof of things that we say, all you got to do is click on the proof. You see like this black rectangle, see proof here, and I'll come up for you to see it. Now, first, I'm going to give you guys a delicious comparison of our situation with the IRS. So in this cartoon, short clip, you will see these are the IRS, deep state, Epstein gang versus us. Here we go. Ready, guys? 1, 2, enjoy.
You're right. It's just one ant.
Yeah, boss. They're puny.
Puny. Say, let's pretend this brain is a puny little ant. Did that hurt?
Nope.
Well, how about this one? Are you kidding? How about this? You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line.
Oh, who are the puny little ants? You and me, the American people. That is what the IRS, the deep state, the Epstein gang billionaires, that's how they look at you and I as puny little ants. And if we ever figure that out, that we outnumber them much more than 100 to 1, there goes the way of life of Epstein gang billionaires, the IRS, the deep state, and you will be free and prosperous once again, the way you are meant to be free by the vision of the America's founding fathers, U.S. Constitution, Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights. So let's get to the facts that will empower you to be free. Here it is. This is the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration report. Okay, status of IRS's workforce as of January 2026. Okay, let's go inside of that. And here, Treasury Inspector General is TICTA as their abbreviation. Here's what they say. According to IRS records, 31,000 plus employees separated from the IRS and took the offer to leave the job or use some other incentive to leave the agency during the 1-year period between January 2025 and January 2026. These departures represent approximately 30% of the IRS's workforce and impact certain business units more than others. Yeah, well, that's a lot, folks, to begin with. That's a lot to lose when you have 103,000 people only. To lose about over 30,000, that's over 30%. That is a huge loss for this broken agency, and here is more. Okay, this one again shows from the same report, reporting IRS's workforce reductions in 2025. Staffing, guess what? It was 103,000. Okay, and then as of January 2025, look at this chart. It came down on the bottom right, the right one, January 2026, down to 74,000, over 30% reduction. This is not my claim. This is Treasury auditor said that. And look at this chart. Who did leave? Look at the right side of the gray. The big gray, 40% of the people left are 55 years and older. Almost 14,000 of them are the most experienced, the most knowledgeable people that know about IRS systems and computers and methods. And they're the ones that left the most. That means these people that could be training younger generation how to replace them correctly are gone. A lot of them are simply gone, not there. That is more serious than young people leaving, okay? Now, here is an article from Reuters, okay? Tax enforcement weekend after Trump job cuts, IRS data shows. This came out April 15, 2026, a couple months ago only, but it is still very relevant. And it says, look at this. The vast majority of revenue collected to tax enforcement comes from unpaid balances. Audits are often years-long processes that do not immediately yield revenue. Let me translate that. Okay? The vast majority of the number comes from unpaid balances. Where do unpaid balances come from? When you were suckered by the corrupt mainstream media, by your bookkeeper, your accountant, your tax attorney who told you, you better file a 1040 tax form. Otherwise, you've been trouble with the IRS. Your business will go away. They take everything you got. Be afraid. I'm here to make sure you're safe. Sign that 1040 income tax form. I'll protect you as a professional. Bookkeeper, accountant, CPA, tax attorney. But what they're really doing to you is this. They're putting a rope around your neck. You trusted these so-called professionals because they pretended to know what they're doing, but they actually put the rope around your neck, signing that 1040 income tax confession form, claiming that you owe the IRS money every year. And that's not my claim. That's a fact. I'll show you. Your accountant didn't show you, well, I'm going to show you right now. He suckered you to sign a form because when you sign an IRS form 1040 income tax confession form, you state under oath that you owe the IRS money. Here it is. The 1040 U.S. individual income tax return. You are suckered into signing every year. Americans do it, and they don't have the money to pay what they confess to the IRS. You say sign here, And like a good used car salesman, the fine print, the small tiny print next to it. Did your accountant, did your CPA tax attorney tell you what that means under penalty of perjury? Could you even read that? Tiny font? No. Here it is. I made it big for you to understand. Under penalties of perjury, you declare everything is on there. It's true, correct, and complete, the same as if you were to do it in front of the judge and a jury in a court of law. You're swearing. Any mistake, guess what? The accountant doesn't go to jail. The CPA tax attorney does not go to jail. You go to prison for something that professional suckered you to pay him, okay, to confess that you owe the IRS money, okay? And so here it is. I'll prove that you also claim that you owe the IRS on line 37 under oath. You claim, here it is, amount you owe. You self-declare this is the amount you owe. Fill in that number. You see that number on line 37 you put in there? Yep, that number. You told the IRS you owe them the money. And people sign these things not having the money to pay. People call me all the time, Peymon, I owe the IRS $20,000, $800,000 or more. I have to pay it. What happened? I filed the 1040 tax forms, but did not have the money to pay it. Why did you file a tax form? Because my accountant told me that to do. See? He's ignorant. Okay? So, let me tell you about this issue. That the fact of the matter is, IRS is falling apart, and the article I gave you also says this. IRS's enforcement arm, roughly 5,000 of its employees, headed to 2026. Its employees into that, and it's on track to cut another 5,000 in the coming year. Right, according to agency's budget projection. That's right. They're going to have even more cuts. So again, to summarize a little bit where we're at, the IRS, it's easy for them to come after you when you sign a telephone confession form. Otherwise, to come after you when you don't file, it takes years. Perhaps any money come down the road, if anything. That's what they said. Go back and rewatch the video if you want that part. Okay? Now, let's continue to here. Here's, again, the report says at its height, the Biden administration, IRS employed 103,000 people. Yep. And according to Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, it aims to employ 69,000 by 2027 fiscal year, which begins October 1st. Good luck. Yep. But before, because that ain't going to happen, folks. That's not going to happen, okay? See, the IRS had struggled for years with its finances as Republicans in Congress blocked funding for the agency intended to help it maintain its outdated technology systems and retain highly skilled staff. That's right. Not only they're losing people, they have outdated technology systems. Oh yeah, that's a big one, folks. We're going to come to that in a little bit, okay? And here you have this Natasha Surin, the president and co-founder of the Yale Budget Lab, a financial think tank. These are pro-government communist fronts out there, okay? They want the government to have more money of your money. They want you to be poor because your money doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the wonderful government. That's who this lady is, right? So here's what she says. I think that the agency has suffered, potentially, irreparable harm. Do you see that? Irreparable harm that cannot be undone. I agree. She is right. I'm glad she's telling you IRS is not savable. They're not salvageable. Because it wasn't as if we were starting off from a system of tax administration that was modernized and set up to pursue compliance on the high end of the income tax spectrum, whatever. It was not modernized. The modernization, what are you talking about? Computer systems, that's right. It's 2026, okay? IRS's computers are antiquated, yes, to 1960s. They're running the main brain of IRS's computer system. In Martinsburg, Virginia, individual master file there is still running a 1960s antiquated, before the time that we supposedly went to the moon, which we didn't, computers, okay? Here's the article, Americans for Tax Reform, came out in 2022. 40 years of failure. IRS unable to fix computer systems. And this wonderful article gives you again and again proof that the IRS is a dying organization. It says here, look at this. For 40 years, the IRS has tried but failed to update its main computer system, regardless of funding level. That's right, regardless of money. And regardless of who controls the White House and Congress, doesn't matter. The bureaucracy is simply unable to pull it off. That's it. They can't fix it. It's broken. The IRS and progressive Democrats continue to plead poverty and pretend the failure is due to insufficient funding rather than incompetence, because it is incompetence. And socialism, communism does not work. They have no incentive to be competitive. They get the money no matter how terrible a job they do. The more terrible job they do, they get more money to waste because they don't know how to run a business of any kind. And this thing, generation after generation, starts getting so bad. Same as the communist Soviet Union. That's why it collapsed in 1991 from within. Okay? That's going on with the IRS. So you see here below is a compilation of key news articles documenting the IRS's failure starting in 1982. All of these are mainstream newspapers like the New York Times in 1982 was the first one. Next one was that, 1985 from Time magazine. Next one, 1985 from the Washington Post. Mainstream corrupt IRS loving institutions. Again in 1985 by New York Times. Another article a year after year in 86 by New York Times. Folks, these guys are crying for the IRS for over 40 years. It cannot get its act together, and now it is toward the end of its life, thanks to you and I standing up to these crooks and criminals. Now, here it is. Check this out. IRS's IT, Information Technology Department, their computer system, has shrunk 42% under Trump. That is the key area that they have to fix to be able to handle things. Right? The antiquated 1960s systems on COBOL assembly language. Now, it's completely hopeless. They cannot update that to 2026 AI. You hear all that baloney about, I shouldn't get AI to get people. Bunch of baloney. They cannot do that without risking complete system collapse, because they have over 100 computer systems which are not connected. They don't talk to each other. Yes, that's on our website, freedomlawschool.org. You can see more about that there. So it gets more exciting how IRS is really falling apart. Okay? So here's an article that came out April 2026 from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, okay, a .org nonprofit. Again, pro-socialist communist organization in April 2026, okay? 3 strikes against filers this tax season. There's lots of strikes against you if you file 1040 confession tax forms. Don't do it. Don't put a rope around your neck, and don't give it to the IRS. Don't sign those forms. Stop income tax withholding from your paycheck at our website, freedomlawschool.org, for free, and keep your hard-earned money. So let's go in this article. There's a couple interesting things, okay? Check this out. The base IRS budget is now 40% below its 2010 level. Wow! The population of America has grown from 2010 to 2026, yet they have 40% cut. That's like running in less than half of an incompetent organization to begin with, after adjusting for inflation, okay? And Trump's administration's new budget proposal to cut the agency's funding in 2027 even more even further. Budget cuts, plus a large decline in staffing, okay? They say 27% in the just past year, weaken the agency's ability to do essential work, like answering filers' questions and auditing complex high-income tax returns. Yes, they can't even answer your questions when you call them. Imagine that. You call the IRS, I want to pay you. I want to make a payment plan. They won't take a call. They're too busy, too incompetent to do even such a simple task, okay? Undermining tax enforcement, okay? For 26, Congress cut the IRS enforcement budget by 8% to the lowest level since 1988 after adjusting for inflation. Good. And they have to do that, by the way, because they can't even answer the phone calls of filers who want to call and make a payment plan with the IRS before they potentially get the money, paycheck taken by the IRS or levied. So here it is, again, audits of higher income filers more than pay for themselves. Okay. In the top 1/10% of people, for every dollar they spend on audits, they make $6. That is still not that much. Audits are not the tool of the IRS making more money. They make the money when they sucker you to sign and file obtain for income tax confession form, and they rely on you not stopping income tax withholding from your paycheck. Go to your employer, stop income tax withholding on our website, freedomlawschool.org. It's there. Call us at 813-444-4800 if you need to get some assistance. Here it is, folks, okay? IRS refuses to go after extremely rich non-filers. See, those are filers that they were talking to you about. Non-filers, they leave alone. Even the rich non-filers, IRS leaves alone. This is again from Treasury Inspector General. It says high-income non-filers owing billions of dollars are not being worked by the Internal Revenue Service. Okay, and I summarize the key part right here. Basically, what it says here, the link is right there to check out the document for yourself. Read it. U.S. Treasury auditors gave the IRS a list of 100 richest income tax non-filers who each would owe the IRS about $100 million. I recommended to the IRS to go after these people for taxes. The IRS is so broken, disorganized, lazy, and irresponsible that the IRS refused to commit to going after these extremely rich, high-income tax non-filers. And as far as we know, they left them alone. If they're reaching these rich non-filers that each owe the IRS $100 million, that was back in year 14, 15, 16, how about you? Make it far less than that. You don't file, they're going to leave you alone 99+% of the time. That's the truth you're seeing right in front of you, okay? And see, here's why. Again, another report from Treasury Inspector General, okay? It says, what does it say here? That when they come after non-filers, they call it the ASFR program, when they come after you don't file, due to low return on investment, okay? Well, how much is reported? They only provide $2.25 for every $1 spent. Very inefficient. They only double the money. They make over $300 for every filer, though, at least, because the sucker you file for a confession form. Here's a National Taxpayer Advocate Annual Report to Congress, 2025, and here it says right here, okay, about the 2026 filing season. Staffing reductions have been significant. In January 2025, the IRS workforce consisted of more than 102,000 employees. By December, the number had been reduced to 74,000 employees. The impact of these departures is not merely numeric. Many departing employees were experienced workers whose institutional knowledge and technical expertise cannot be easily replaced. That's what I keep telling you guys, folks. These people with experience gone, their knowledge is gone with them, okay? And furthermore, okay, here's this one. The IRS said that 142 of its senior executive service, or roughly 40%, separated and took an offer or used some of the incentive to leave as of January 2026, okay? Members of the SES serve in key positions just below top presidential appointees. Wow. And these guys are at the highest levels of the IRS. And almost half of them are gone. Gone. Hang on to get out knowledge in their heads about how things work. Pass on the next people. It can't be done. It's gone. They're going to fall apart faster and faster now, okay? So here is a figure from the report, Irish personal losses by, different functions that they have here, okay? I found the one that was most interesting to me. You can look at this chart on your own as I scroll down on it, okay? But the one that got my attention the most was the one with the IRS's headquarters, okay? Okay? And this one, where's the one for IRS's headquarters? I think it was right. It was like, oh, here we go. IRS headquarters, HQ, went down to from 50 down to 17. Whoa. That's 66% drop. Imagine. The key place where everything comes together, headquarters, right? That staffing went down by more than half. So all the pieces, over 100 different computer systems, are each doing their own thing. And they don't talk to each other. They're all just over there, whatever. Leadership is gone. The system is already imploding by being completely disintegrated to smaller parts without proper communication, okay? So this is why, and Bob, you see, I talk about this a lot. The suspensions include the IRS's more vital database. From 2023, a U.S. Government Accountability Office GAO report said this. The IRS recently suspended operations essential to replacing a 60-year-old individual master file, IMF. Accordingly, the 2030 target completion date for replacing the IMF that the IRS announced last year is now unknown. They have no idea when, if ever, they're going to update their 1960s individual master file, the brain of the IRS. Not even a lip service. They know they cannot do it. It eventually will collapse. Okay? Now, what does the IRS do instead to scare you? They send these dumb computer-generated letters to scare you. They're sending a lot of these because they're cheap and easy. Okay, here's an example from Austin, Texas. Okay, you need to file and pay your 2024 Form 1048 tax return. Okay, March 2026. What do you need to do? Folks, look at this letter. There's no name of anybody sender. No name, no signature. Just the one-page scare letter. But you see the name of the IRS and the vulture in the top left. That's supposed to scare you. Now, it means nothing. It's complete utter junk. Okay? Junk mail. You can completely ignore it and you'll be just fine. Then they send another letter like this. Again from Austin, Texas. Oh, time-sensitive information. Open immediately. What? Are you scared? Immediately. Open immediately. Time-sensitive. Baloney. Okay? You must file your 2024 tax return. We send you prior notices, but still haven't heard from you. What you need to do immediately, be scared, right? Because you're not scared. Now, responding to the scare letters, they just keep sending you more scare letters like this one. This one's only 2 pages, okay? Oh, man, how to make a payment. You want to make a payment? Oh, we tell you how to do that easy, right? So, again, you see no name on here, no signature. There's nobody watching you, waiting for your response or lack of response at the IRS. They want you to think, oh, if I don't respond, David, Joe, Robert, one of those guys is going to notice I didn't respond to his letter. He's going to come and get me. Oh. No. Doesn't work like that. Sorry. To them, you're not important. To them, you're just a sheep little ant to shear, to sucker you, to give your hard-earned money to the IRS communist social system instead of your family that needs your money very badly. Okay? And here's another one of those. Okay, so there's a third one. They usually have their three letters. I got two of them up for you. But at the end, remember this. It's game. They control your mind. They control you. Let me remind you the truth of you got a third letter up there? Okay. So let me remind you of the truth, how much power you got. Watch this one more time, how we outnumber these guys more than 100 to 1. Here we go. You need this repeating, watching this.
Yeah, you're right. It's just one ant.
Yeah, boss. They're puny.
Puny? Say, let's pretend this grain is a puny little ant.
Did that hurt?
Nope.
Well, how about this one? Are you kidding? How about this? You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line.
Yep.
You're right.
If you ever figure that out, that we outnumber them, okay? More than 10,000 to 1. There goes the deep state, the IRS, Epstein gang billionaires that own the system that benefit from you being a slave. You just saw the proof. You do not need to be afraid of the IRS. I'm not filing income tax for over 30 years openly, teaching Americans not to file income tax like me. IRS knows it. They've never tried to put me in prison, okay? Never even indicted me for not having filed and paid federal income taxes. Why? Because they know, I know, there's no law requiring me or you, the people of the 50 states, to file and pay any federal income taxes to begin with. So all that's stopping you from going forward to be free is your mind. What you need to do is to de-brainwash yourself of the lies that you're required to file income taxes. So go to our website, freedomlawschool.org, okay? And you can call us at 813-444-4800. Either way, we'll mail you these brochures free of charge. Restore Freedom and Fast Track Your Success. Both of them show you in 10 pages inside why no law requires 99% of Americans to file and pay federal income taxes. $50,000 reward if you can show me I'm wrong. I'll pay you if you put your name and phone number. Someone joins our Restore Freedom plan with 100% guarantee protection for them, for referring people to us. This is all laws obtained from government's own official legal websites. Okay? Supreme Court decisions, from U.S. Treasury regulations, everything. So go to freedomlawschool.org and on your drive to and from work, on errands, shopping, whatever. Okay? Listen in your car on your smartphone to our videos at freedomlawschool.org and empower yourself to be free. And then when you go to work for lunch or home for dinner, put your smartphone up one more time. This time play and listen and watch this time, okay? And verify that the law is on your side. You are not required to file income tax, payroll taxes, corporate taxes, estate taxes. Your employer, you should not withhold anything from your employee's paycheck. No FICA, no income tax, none of that. Your company and you and your employees will be much richer and go successfully big. Folks, I help companies save themselves from going under by telling the guy, look, stop taking money sent to the IRS. You and your employees always save your jobs and your business. So all you gotta do is educate yourself, okay? Free your mind. Like Morpheus tells Neo in the movie Matrix, free your mind is the key. At freedomlawschool.org. I'll be back with you next week.